This is the story of a journey that began 1400 years ago, from continent to continent, from generation to generation. It has inspired the creation of some of the most extraordinary buildings in the world.
You're connected to the future and the past.
And this mosque is one of the mosques that the whole world speaks about.
Buildings which tell a story through times of conflict and confrontation.
Sure, they'll change who owns what at any given time, but destroying, that's a very different matter.
Of harmony and achievement.
A structure with a very deep past, but hopefully also with a very vibrant future.
A place where the journey began. A journey made through the centuries. A journey still being made for the first time today. A journey that now brings millions of people every year to a single building in a single city.
I feel like I have to go there for my soul.
It's the biggest wish of my life.
A journey into an entire way of life. It is a story of what Muslims believe.
I think it's a religion of peace. Some people have forgotten that.
This is the story of Islam. A story told through our own journey around 7 wonders of the Muslim world. Five times a day all over the world, hundreds of millions of people punctuate their daily lives with prayer. They start at dawn. They are timed to follow the sun across the sky until it sets. After dark, the final prayer is said. As Islam has spread, these prayers have become part of daily life across the whole world. And it's through prayer that every Muslim in the world is continually connected, all praying in the direction of the city where their religion began. The first and most important wonder of the Muslim world. Mecca. Mecca, the birthplace of the Prophet Muhammad and the religion he began teaching 1400 years ago. In the Grand Mosque in Mecca stands the building known as the Kaaba. This is the single most important site in Islam. Every time any Muslim anywhere in the world say their prayers, they face in the direction of this single building.
The Kaaba is just something which is the house itself, the way it was built. This is the meaning in Arabic. But in fact, it's the symbol of God's house, God's where He's not here, but it's the symbol of His presence on earth, where the Muslims has to go and there is no images, nothing there to represent Him, because we should not represent God. So it's a place without a physical presence, but a spiritual presence.
In essence, the most beautiful thing about Mecca is the Kaaba itself, and its beauty is in its simplicity. It's a black box. And it's a black box which people circumambulate, and it is just so divinely simple and yet so divinely beautiful. It's a very peaceful place. Even you can be in the middle with 2 million people and be at peace, because it's been dedicated to God for so long.
It was the Prophet Muhammad who ensured even today the Kaaba is the symbol of the one true God. But Muslims believe the origins of Mecca as a holy place predates Muhammad and goes right back to the birth of humanity. The land on which Mecca is built and the surrounding hills are said to have been of importance since the days of Adam and Eve. It was at Mount Arafat, near the city of Mecca, that Muslims believe Adam and Eve found each other after being cast out of paradise. Muslims believe the original Kaaba was built under divine instructions by another figure common to Christianity and Judaism, Abraham. Its purpose, a shrine to the one true God of all people and all times.
Abraham built the Kaaba as a symbol of unity of God. If you like, it's the center of monotheism. That's where monotheism actually begins. And it personifies the idea that there is only one God.
Millions of Muslims visit the city every year on a pilgrimage centered on the Kaaba. For many Muslims, to cast eyes on the Kaaba for the first time is a moment of truth.
The first time I went inside the Haram, the sacred mosque in Mecca, it was really an awe-inspiring moment. I mean, as you walk in and you see the Kaaba and people kind of circumambulating around it, it's almost like a sea of people. You can actually, I mean, when you walk in and just stand there and look, you know, it's almost like a river going around the Kaaba, and the atmosphere is absolutely electric with the spirituality. I mean, you can actually feel, if it is possible, the presence of God, and you really do feel humble. Now, I've seen Muslims walking inside the Haram, and the first thing that you notice when they walk in is the tears come in their eyes. It actually shows you how insignificant you are as an individual, as a human being in the sight of God.
It is to this building that Muslims all over the world turn to 5 times a day to pray. As they do, they reaffirm the message of the Prophet. There is only one true God, and Muhammad is a messenger of God, the last of the prophets. A message that has created a religion followed by over 1 billion people today across the world. Among them are 6 first-time pilgrims. All have a dream to come to Mecca and are hoping to make the journey in the next few days. All live near and pray in some of the world's most important and most beautiful mosques. Outside Saudi Arabia, Jerusalem is the holiest city in the Islamic faith. Before Muslims prayed to Mecca, it was towards Jerusalem they directed their prayers. It is a city steeped in Islamic history. In almost every view of Jerusalem, you can see the slate-grey dome of our next wonder of the Muslim world, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and alongside it, the striking golden Dome of the Rock. Built within a few decades of the Prophet's death, it contains the stone from which Muslims believe Muhammad journeyed as he ascended to heaven.
The site of the Dome of the Rock is important for all 3 monotheistic religions. It's venerated by the Jews because that's where their temple was. It's venerated by the Christians for the connection with Jesus, who spent so much of his life in Jerusalem and taught there. And Muslims believe that it was from that very site that Muhammad set off on his miraculous journey to the 7 heavens. And indeed, Muslims believe that this is where the Last Judgment will take place. It's very much in the style of a Christian building of the time, with perfect geometrical proportions. It's a double octagon, and with the favorite Christian decoration of the time, which is glass mosaic. What's different is that it has no figures on it, and instead it's almost an oasis, a fertile oasis of strange and wonderful supernatural plants. The survival of the great Muslim buildings of Jerusalem has to do with the veneration that Jews and Christians, as well as Muslims, have for the site. It's not an accident that the Dome of the Rock still stands after 1400 years, in spite of all those wars, and the Aqsa is the same. We're looking at a protected place, a sacred place, that all 3 religions venerate, and they're not going to muck around with it. Sure, they'll change who owns what at any given time. But destroying, that's a very different